Hello. I'm Adam, the learning coach at abetterpianoteacher.com. Today I want to talk about playing quietly. This is something that I always had a lot of trouble with. And some of my students, of course, especially the younger ones, have trouble with. Because playing quietly is this weird thing on the piano. Playing quietly involves actually moving more slowly. But if you're moving more slowly and you still have to play the same tempo, like if I'm playing, if I want to play it more quietly, then I actually have to move my muscles more slowly, but then I have to compensate for that so that the tempo stays the same, if that makes any sense. Like I'm hitting you slowly, but I can't hit you at that speed, so I have to kind of relax while I hit you. It's a little difficult to explain. Fortunately for me, there's a better way to think about quiet. I'd like to tell you a story about how I heard Emanuel Ax in a master class, and I had the nerve to raise my hand and ask him, how do you play so quietly? Because I was so amazed at his piano sound. And he said, I don't know. And I was so grateful for that answer. This master was humble enough to tell me he wasn't sure how he did it. What he said was, I just go into the practice room and I explore until I find the sound and the feeling I want. And that told me that there's no magic formula to playing quiet. It's something you have to learn how to do in your body, with your ears. It's going to change depending on the piano you're playing, and it's going to change depending on the body you have. If there are some piano players who are just mighty, they've got long fingers, or they've got meaty muscles, and all they got to do is just kind of sigh on the piano, and it's just like really loud. Then there are other piano players like me who have to really, put more effort into their playing. My hands they're not super long. They're a little shorter than they appear, and a little weaker than your average piano player. So I really have to work at it. But I do know how to play soft now. And I just had the occasion of working with one of my students who was trying to play soft, and he was one of those meaty guys. And I told him something that I thought would be helpful to you. I told him that when you're playing the piano, the keys push back on you if you let them. The piano is this absolutely marvelous, complicated machine with an action. And you have to overcome a certain amount of inertia. Here, I'll show you. Here's the piano with the keys. If I push down too slowly on the piano key, it makes no sound. If I push down faster, it does make a sound. So there's increments. If I want to go slow, I can get quiet. But if I go too slow, at some point, no sound. The hammer just doesn't make it to the string. So what to do? Well, you notice that if I let go of the piano string, it bounces back. It doesn't just stay down. And in fact, it flies up. It's got an upward mobility to it that pushes against my finger. I can actually rest a little bit of my weight on this key and it doesn't go all the way down. If I put my full weight on it, of course it does, but I can actually just kind of float. I'm actually pushing down on the key a little bit and it is going down just a little. I can feel the key pushing back on me. There's this wonderful feeling of resistance that allows me to be expressive on the piano. And by the way, a lot of keyboards that are not weighted or touch sensitive don't have this. So if you don't have an actual piano or a touch sensitive weighted keyboard, you're not going to get this feeling. Pianos have this wonderful little click inside them that a lot of touch sensitive weighted keyboards don't have. You can feel the hammer bouncing back against the key, which is very satisfying. Okay, so I'm going to be playing this hymn that I've been using for the last 4 videos. If you haven't guessed by now, I'm practicing this hymn by creating these videos because I have to do it on Sunday. So here is the hymn, and I'm going to do just maybe the first part of it. Now this is me kind of putting my weight into the keys. I'm going to the key bottom. And I'm not using pedal, by the way. I'm just kind of going with it. If I want to play quieter, it's not enough just to, lighten up. I have misfires that way. You can hear that it's not even my tone. I'm not sounding every note. Or the balance is off. My thumb is going to be heavier, for instance. Here it is again, with me not being careful. It's not too impressive. But if I think about the piano pushing back on me, and I think about the balance like a scale that I would need to get, then I can engage the piano finger to key, and I can create a more balanced, quiet sound. And this is something I would have to do 100 times to get it perfectly balanced. And I would also need a better instrument. But it's better than the first one, where I'm just kind of... You can hear I've got missed notes. But if I think about those keys pushing back on me, and I allow them to push me back, but not too much, just enough to balance it, then I can respond in my body. Whoops. And then if I want to do something even more difficult, like maybe crescendo, then I kind of let the piano have less and less of a say as I go. And then maybe give it back. Yeah. So there's this dance I'm doing with the piano, where the piano is pushing on me and I'm pushing on the piano. And the volume that we get, the dynamic, is a function of our dance. It's a function of my connection to the piano, letting the piano push me and me pushing. It's kind of like playing a little bit of a seesaw game or dancing with the piano rather than imposing my will on the piano at a certain volume. It's certainly not like turning up a volume dial on a slider. It's much more tactile than that. It's much more difficult. Another reason why keyboards can be confusing, because you can turn the volume up and down on a keyboard. Much harder to have that volume all the way up and affect it, with your sound. I hope this is interesting to you. I hope it's helpful. And if you're having difficulty with your soft passages, leave me a message in the comments or contact me at abetterpianoteacher.com and we can work through some passages. There's things we can do to feel that quietness, not just in your fingers, but in your whole body, in the way your ribs move with your fingers as you push against the keys and feel the push against them, in the way that you balance on your bottom and, give yourself the freedom you need so that you're not hanging over the piano, adding extra weight. All of these things are things we can talk about in our lessons. Contact me at abetterpianoteacher.com. I'm Adam, and I'm always trying to be a better piano teacher. I'll see you next time.